Hi, and here we are with
Ed Superior.
Sam Ballard.
Oh, James, hi.
It threw me off. He went off on a long one over there. And what geeky games do you have at Geeky Gamers?
We are here with Battle of the Bands, our first game at UK Games Expo.
And how does it work?
So it's a game about being a musician and how terrible that is. It's a game about band politics and selling out. Yeah. So each player is a musician. You're trying to get famous, get fans. And you do that by going on tour, which is making sets basically. But going on tour is expensive and risky. So you cooperate with other players to put acts together and go on tour together, but then you have to share what you get.
Okay. And what is how do you win? Is it a cooperative game or is it a...
It's a competitive game, but you have to work with other players to win.
Okay. And how do you win? Like what, is it points?
27 fans.
27 fans? It doesn't seem like a lot of fans.
They are abstract, symbolic fans.
27,000 fans. We will add some O's to this. So you need to zoom. It's all done for you. What have you got coming up in the next year?
We're going to run a bunch of game jams. We're going to be launching this thing, and we have other game plans in progress.
Expansions for this, or you can't...
Hopefully, you know. I mean, it's just in pre-release now.
Okay. And do you get a T-shirt in the box? And
this is the board. It is both thematic and practical.
No, I like it.
It's a play mat, and you can't break it.
It feels like a challenge now.
Well,
it's on the back. I see. So is that the back normally? I'm making sure it wasn't like we have to wear this around so people know who we are. And...
No, go on.
That's it.
Okay, if your company was a mythological creature, what would it be?
It would be a martlet.
We're gonna have to Google that one, I feel.
Martlet. It's like a bird with no legs. Bet you weren't expecting that one.
I thought it was a weeble. I'm very confused. Thank you very much. Pleasure meeting you.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just round on the corner. Here we are with Medusa Games, and this is
Johnny from...
And basically we're going to talk about
Nine Worlds by Medusa Games. So this is Nine Worlds, designer Richard Denning, beautiful art by Andre Schneider. This will be the final art. The components will be a little different. I'll explain that in a second. So this is a Norse mythology themed area control game. So the aim of the game is to get the most victory points, very thematic, being war and fighting and everything. So you basically, the best way to get points is by controlling worlds and having just the biggest presence in the 9 realms. So in this case, if you're orange, you'd have control of those 3 worlds because you have the most pebbles. But if green were to come along and put down 2 pebbles there, they'd have control of that world. But the real meat of the game happens when there's more than 5 pieces. Okay. So when there's more than 5 pieces, crazy stuff happens. You have battles. So let's put down, say, blue, and another green, orange. Because they're all Vikings, they're all sort of in the world, they're all warring for the same place, population control happens. So going in turn order, so in this case they're all sort of moved about. And going in turn order, you take one from blue, so sorry blue doesn't get to contest the world. Then you'd go green, and then you'd go orange. So in this case, orange wins because it has 3 pieces, and green only has 2. So your piece goes to Valhalla, that scores you an extra 2 points, because you're orange. Then the world powers happen. This is where the really cool, freaky stuff happens, where you get to manipulate the world. So each world has its own sort of thematic sort of like power. So Asgard is protect, so your little shield there. It says in the little sheet. Yes. It's got all the rules. So it lets you stop other people from using powers against you. So in this case, Jotunheim is activated, World 4. So that's steel. So you have a little hand taking the money. So that lets you take one piece from like another player, so say orange here, and replace it with yours. So in this case now blue's got that world. So blue's got that world. And that's essentially the game. It goes on for 3 rounds for a short game, 6 rounds for a mid-length game, 9 rounds for a long game. You score on rounds 3, 6 and 9. 3, 6 and 9, so you spend the first 2 rounds sort of building up the worlds, getting control of everywhere, and then 3rd round you score. You can screw somebody over.
What would be a sort of average sort of score when playing the game? So look, when people play it for the first time and they're playing 3 rounds, what's the sort of rough score they should be looking to try and get?
Rough sort of score, about 25. Doesn't seem like a bad score for first sort of 3 rounds. And the next round it's sort of like double, so you might get like 50, or you might get 40. So.
Like it. Okay, I'm going to ask you some questions now. What have you got coming up in the next year?
What have we got coming in the next year? Well, this is the main thing. Hopefully October Essen Spiel release. We've also got a sort of alpha, sort of in design game called Flying Machines, based on sort of the old sort of flying races. But apart from that, we're just sort of looking at ideas and just hoping Medusa will get bigger and bigger.
I like it. Okay, so this is also another very simple question. I feel, if your company was a mythological creature, what would it be?
So if our company was a mythological, well, it would be Medusa, of course. It'd be Medusa, of course.
We're changing this one to other than your current.
Other than your company's logo, because obviously it's it was you and Pegasus was like, well, it's a Pegasus, obviously. But no, that was brilliant. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Pleasure. Hi, here we are with AEG, and you are.
I'm Mark Wharton.
And what do you do, Mark?
I do a lot of work on the development of all the games that we make. I work with the designers, I work with other colleagues in AEG, and between us we help bring a game to fruition.
And how long have AEG or you been making games for?
AEG has been making games since the 1990s. It started out making card games, and we've now expanded into making a range of card games, board games, family games. We have our 5-minute fun line of games. So at the moment we're doing a really diverse range of games.
What geeky games do you do for geeky gamers?
I've got a couple of games here in front of me. The one on my right is one we released towards the end of last year called Dice City. It's up for an award at the UK Games Expo, so we're making sure people get an opportunity to see it. We did a release at Essen last year, and it was one of the most successful games we've ever released at Essen. It's basically a game which is, I suppose we call it like dice building. You control a town or a city, and you're trying to improve that city. So the basic city starts off producing some resources and with a few basic military elements, and you buy locations with the resources that are produced, put them onto your city, and then when you roll the dice and they land on there, they effectively become that number. So in the case we've got here, the Merchant Guild is now effectively your gold 5. The game has ostensibly sort of 3 different ways to sort of try and achieve victory conditions. The military strategy tends to attack and try and defeat the bandits. So you become the new capital by being a strong military power. You can become the new capital by opening up trade routes. So you supply trade ships and you get victory points from doing that. And the other way really is by having a significant number of buildings and having a lot of victory points on those buildings, which tends to be favoured by the sort of cultural strategy of the game. So that's Dice City, which we did last October, and this is one that's coming out in July. This is one of our 2 big releases this year. This is Mystic Vale, and Mystic Vale uses our card crafting system, and really it's an amazingly innovative game. It almost makes the sleeve the star. The premise of the game is that each player represents a clan of druids that are trying to cleanse a magical mystic veil that's very important. The veil has suffered from some sort of decay, and you're trying to repair the damage. So it's got a very, very beautiful, very serene artistic style, which I think will appeal to a lot of people. The game uses the unique idea that you build your own cards. I mean, how many times have you played a card game where you said, well, if I had that effect and that effect on the same card, that would be awesome. And actually, what you're really doing in this game is you're doing just that. Yeah. So you start the game with a deck of 20 cards. You finish the game with a deck of 20 cards, but you change what's on them. A number of the cards are blank. You can buy an advancement, put it in, and now the card does this thing. You add a different card which may combo. And now both of these cards feed off each other. So this card gains you victory points based on a certain number of symbols on. This card gets you mana to buy more cards based on a certain number of symbols. They both have that symbol, so they multiply each other. So players are looking for combinations on individual cards. In some cases, they want combinations between cards. But the really innovative aspect of this game is that you're actually building your own card.
Yeah. No, it seems like a great concept and a really good sort of idea. We get those moments where you're going, this isn't what I wanted to do. I need it to do something. You can just basically add that. Can you remove a card once you've added it to it, or is it a permanent fix?
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh.
There's always options. I mean, the base game has an enormous amount of replayability, a huge amount of replayability. But I mean, one of the things we were very, very aware of is that there's a massive amount of design space in it. I mean, already there's sort of 2 currencies in the game, so you can approach the game by trying to generate a lot of mana, and mana is what you use to buy the advancements. But we also have these Vale cards over here, and Vale cards are bought using the spirit symbols, and these are particularly good because once you've bought them, they sort of sit in front of you as a permanent resource. Some of them give you victory points, some of them have other effects which will be beneficial during the game. So you can try a number of different strategies. Some cards will earn you victory points when you play them. I was going to say most. Some of the cards have victory points that they're worth at the end of the game. So you can focus on strategies that are more about earning quick victory points. You can have strategies that seek to build and build and build and then earn a massive amount of victory points towards the end. You can try and accumulate victory points through the symbol system.
Yeah.
There's different ways to play it, and because you're not going to see all of the advancements in every game, you have to sort of adapt to the options that are available on the table at any one time. I think the other thing that's really interesting is it has a great little sort of push your luck mechanic in terms of the way the deck works, because you reveal cards off the deck until you have revealed 3 decay. This is the decay we're trying to repair, is this red symbol. Now, at this point I have 3 mana. I can choose to push my luck and keep revealing, but if ever I reveal 4 decay, I spoil, which is like busting, I suppose. So if I really want 4 mana, I can now push this and take my chances. Okay, but if I'd reveal this, I've got 4 mana. There's a compensation for busting in that you get something, and actually, spoiling strategically can sometimes be a good idea. So there's all sorts of wrinkles that as you play the game more and more, you start to understand there's different layers in it. But it's a compelling mechanic. There's a lot of people are like, oh, just one more. Or you built this awesome card, and there's only 3 cards left in your deck, and one of them's this awesome card, and one of them's a cursed land. So I just want the awesome card now. But it's got the usual mechanic. You build onto cards in your field. After you've had your turn, they go into your discard pile. You then build another field. And then once you've gone through, you shuffle up and you repeat. So you're then acquiring the cards that you've made with the different advancements.
Is it a game where you have there's one defined winner, or is it one of those ones where everyone wins but one of them is the over? Because you're trying to cleanse the forest. One winner. There's no. You're all.
You are trying to be the most successful clan of druids. Right? You're trying to be the most successful clan of druids. I mean, I think again. I mean, looking forward. I think it's entirely possible that you could come up with a cooperative variant for it. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But in the base game, you're sort of competing clans of druids. So
I like it. Okay, final question. If your company was a mythological creature, I know you've been dying for this question. If your company is a mythological creature, what would it be?
It would be this moon wolf. No. Yeah, you told me to expect this one. You see, I want to say the unicorn because the unicorn is the mythological creature of Scotland.
Yes.
But given that most of my colleagues in the States, I felt some sort of huge mythological rook or eagle. Eagle would be more appropriate. But given that we're about to release Mystic Vale, can I pick the Moonwolf?
Of course you can. A pleasure meeting you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Hi, here we are, and you are?
Fred.
Or which company?
We are from Geek Attitude Games.
Okay.
So we are a Belgian company based in Brussels, and we are visiting the UK Games Expo for the first time.
I like it. What geeky games do you do for geeky gamers?
Sorry?
What geeky games do you do for geeky gamers? So what are your products?
Our products. So our first release was SN the Game. So actually it's all come from a joke. So why not doing a game about the spiel?
Okay.
So we did a game and just did a Kickstarter 2 years ago, and then we produced, set up the company, and here we are.
Good.
And last year we produced Taverna, a game about beer and about the tavern. So we are playing innkeepers and we bring customers in tavern, get popularity and make the party. And that's it, up to now for the release game.
Okay. What games have you got coming up in the next year?
So the next game is Not Alone.
Okay.
So it's something completely different from the two previous one. That's an asymmetrical card game for 2 to 7 players. So basically it happens on a planet in the space, and one player will hunt the other players. This is a hunting games, one against the others. So the creature will try to assimilate the humans to the planet, to Artemia.
And have you got another one as well, haven't you?
Yeah, of course.
And what's it called?
What's it called? The next one, you mean?
Yeah.
For the next year, we're planning to release Save the President, Save the World.
Okay.
So again, something completely different and hilarious. This is a co-op game for 1 to 5 players, and the idea is just there is an earthquake on the 4th of July, and a hole opened in front of the White House, and a horde of monsters is coming to kill everybody in the White House except the president, which is still alive, and a few tourists, and you will play the tourists. And the purpose is to save the president until the arrival of the men in black, who will take the president and put it in security.
Okay, last question, very important. If your company was a mythological creature, what would it be and why?
Okay, I would say we discussed together. I think we were the satirists because we are not serious. We try to do what we like, and we are funny guys. We like to enjoy life. We produce Taverna, for instance, and it's actually the developer of the game is a brewer. So we have our own beer. We have the Taverna beer. So we are good living people.
Thank you very much. That's brilliant. Thank you. Bye.